being able to understand who is good for you and what's good for you, it's like the first thing that you need to think about before getting into a relationship, one step at a time, one day at a time. Because otherwise, you're gonna get yourself into something that it's gonna later be really hard to get out of, or that you're gonna be extremely unhappy and you're gonna have to hit the reset button a lot later in life, and it's gonna make it a lot harder.
Welcome back to another episode. Today, I have a good friend of mine, somebody who's not afraid of sharing her opinion about controversial topics. Anytime I need a grounded and honest take from a woman's perspective, I reach out to her. Without further ado, let me introduce my good friend, MJ. Hey,
Thank
how's
you.
it going? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So far, so good. What a great intro. Really
Yeah,
honest.
thank you. That went a lot smoother than I was envisioning, so I'm happy with that. So far, so good. But yeah, I mean, I was so looking forward to this conversation with you because the topics that we're going to talk obviously about controversial topics, modern society. Those are topics that I don't get to talk to a lot of people. Simply, there's I think a taboo or somebody doesn't want to really give their opinion about it. So let's just jump right into it. Tell me what your opinion about modern societies, especially with the Gen Z and millennials. What do you see? What's happening now, and what's your perspective as a woman?
As a woman, so right now, I mean, I can talk to you a little bit about like um, from a corporate perspective, but also like having to befriend Gen Z and seeing how their relationships work nowadays in comparison to what it would be a relationship between two millennials or even older people than us, basically. And I really think that Gen Z, they're up to something in the sense of they saw all of our mistakes and everything that we wanted to do but didn't do because we were worried, concerned, or because of all of our issues with our parents and how our parents learned how to raise us and all of these things. And they honestly, they're not afraid of saying what they think and how they think things should be done, which I think is extremely valuable. But also the fact that their relationships are pretty much based in honesty and they go straight to the chase. They cut straight to the chase. They really don't give a crap, honestly, when it comes to saying what they want, looking for what they want. If they have to be alone, they'll be alone. If they want to get married, they'll get married. If they want kids, they'll say it. If they don't, they'll say it. Like they're not looking to please anybody, which is I think what we as millennials were doing.
Okay, that's an interesting take, and clearly it's because it's funny because even though you say something that is very true, that a lot of them just don't give a shit about anything, and they're their own people. There is this sense of entitlement. We feel as older generations, and millennials, Gen X, don't even start with the boomers. They feel that they are extremely entitled, and you can see that to some degree that they want success and they want money and they want everything right away. And if they don't get it, then they feel, at least from my perspective, that society is doing wrong to them. Clearly, the economy is not where it used to be, but
Right.
so why do you think that is that entitlement fair or not?
I mean, when you say that they're entitled, like why? Where? Like why do they? Why?
Well, so here's this is the perception I have when it comes to not so much millennials but Gen Z, in a way that they they want their voice to be heard, which is totally fine, but they feel that there is some sort of toxic morality when it comes to younger generations, and that and you can see it from the perspective of they feel that they're better than other people just because they accept more. Our opinion is better than yours. You are a an old person who with the old beliefs, old values, And I think besides that, now that a lot of young men or women, honestly, they don't feel they feel that they want to make a ton of money, or just they want to have like a higher position in a company without the work, without the experience. And it seems like, well, you have to put the work. It's nothing is going to be given to you. That's the perception I have, but
Mhm.
I could be wrong. Now that's something that clearly you can see a lot on social media, which is not really what's happening out there, but that's what it feels like.
I don't know, from a corporate perspective, having not only to work alongside millennials, but also having to manage, alongside Gen Z and having to manage them as well. Um, it is true that there is some level of entitlement in the sense that they do believe that things should be easier, that if they have the knowledge, then things should happen. If they know how to do something, then we should let them do it. But I see value there because they do have what I think millennials, not all of us, of course, but some of the millennials are lacking, which is that like we don't have that drive of trying new things and doing new things because we're afraid of the results. Or if we truly believe that we know something, but then we're afraid of not having the correct experience or that we're going to be rejected because we don't have 20 years working in this industry. Like they don't suffer from that fear. So, yes, I agree that there's a level of entitlement. However, I think there is value there, and I also think that there's a lot to learn from them, and there's value on that entitlement. Obviously, you can see like there are two sides to every coin, right? There's
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
gonna you're gonna see people who are entitled in ridiculous ways and things that are just not productive or that don't help anybody. But you're also gonna see people who have strong beliefs into how things are supposed to be, or what you were saying about being more open-minded or accepting more things, or even being more open to technology in every single aspect of their lives. I think that's extremely valuable and important. Like good things come out of there, you know?
I know. I mean, you have a point there. And what one thing that I thought about when you mentioned the being more open minded, it just reminded me at an extreme controversial topic that is happening nowadays. And I don't know if Gen Z are involved in this one, but certainly millennials are when it comes to the gender roles. It is something that you and I sort of have a similar opinion about this, but it seems like society is just split in half, or
Yeah.
and you have like a one extreme saying that they want, especially men want women to be feminine again, and then you have women who feel like, no, we are empowered to do anything we want, just like men have been doing for thousands of years. So what do you think about this whole controversy when it comes to gender roles?
I honestly, first of all, I don't think there's got to be a separation between being independent and doing whatever I want and being feminine. There shouldn't be a separation. I should be able to be feminine and at the same time being able to do whatever I want. Like that's my first that's the first thing that comes to mind. And second of all, with the gender roles, in Gen Z, my friends that are Gen Z, um, they are very clear in the sense of that a household should be treated as a team, and that means is that everyone gets the same level of responsibility, and nobody is expected to do more than the other, and it's not like you have an assigned task that it's for you and for you only, and only you're gonna be good at it. Because that's not always the case. That's not necessarily true.
Which, I mean, I agree with you in that, and I see a lot of people saying, and again, it's just, I don't like to talk about much about these topics because it seems like only a small minority are just making noise and nobody else cares. It's just like, you know what, we don't care. We have our relationship the way we want it. We don't have to follow what the extremes are saying or are claiming, but we cannot ignore that. Uh, but there's this thing that independent women are seen as masculine, which to me, I never agree with that. To me, it feels more that I mean, you guys have come a long, I mean, a long way to where you guys are now, where you can have you hold position of power, you have higher education, you're getting better jobs, you're being financially independent, and yet it feels like, I'm not going to say that men are intimidated by that. I think that a lot of men, what they have realized, like, well, that person doesn't have to deal with your bullshit anymore. If you're not holding your end of the I mean your end of the agreement, then that woman, the girl, can just walk away and be totally secure and safe because she has that financial independence.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like proud. It's hard because I could see how certain men could be intimidated by it, and I've seen it up and close. But I could also think that it's a matter of fear because why do I say fear? The reason really is that men and as the concept of the protector and the sole provider and all of this is not
Yeah,
really true anymore. Like it's a matter of it's not that I need you, is that I want you. So the
fair. Yeah.
minute that want stops, there's no need for you there. So I can do whatever. I can fend for myself. I don't need you. Like you're there because I want you there. And that might be very controversial right now, and I understand that, and it's completely valid. I mean, part of being more open-minded, for good or for better or worse, it's also accepting those type of views that are completely different than, yeah, completely different to mine, which is that, everyone has very specific gender roles and things are supposed to be one way, and women need to be more feminine and whatnot, and but I don't know. I think that component of fear is kind of important, and I also understand that alpha males don't like me saying fear, but it is what it is. Like
I mean, yeah, again,
I don't know if
see, I don't.
intimidation or fear, which one would be worse, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because it seems like whoever gets offended, whoever gets defensive with that statement, then you clearly have something to hide because you wouldn't get defensive otherwise. And I get it;
right.
everyone has a different opinion about it, and if you're open to other people's opinion, you don't have to accept them. You just have to respect them and just move on. But it seems like a, there's this agenda being pushed by both parties, and well, I don't know if fear is the right word, or intimidation. Clearly, there is an aspect where I could see that the man's job is to be the provider, and you see it almost all across the animal kingdom, right? You see, very rare you see other female animals just doing the hunting, and I get it, right? So it's almost like in our DNA is an instinct. So if you have girlfriend or a wife that makes more money than you or is more successful than you, I can see how you could be as a man having issue with mental health when it comes to either a depression or having anxiety because your purpose in life or what you're wired to do is no longer there. So I can see that point of view, and yet I think that both things can coexist. So I don't know what you think about that.
Well, lions don't hunt.
Okay. Well, yeah.
They just stay at home and protect the place that they live at. That's what they do. They're great at it.
Hey, let me tell you,
I mean,
I don't mind being a house husband. It seems easy to me. I mean, hey, I'll take it. But
like, I get it. I mean, I understand, but at the same time, I think that those are just rules placed by a society where that could work before. Like, I believe that the thing of evolution, accepting new rules, new laws, and keep moving forward, it's something that we do together and not necessarily just women by themselves. Because if we think about it, like, yeah, you could think of the model of the homestay, like, what, like, okay. let's think about like the 60s, 50s, those times,
Okay.
right? Where men would be traditionally the ones who would go to work. They will have their housewife at home taking care of the children, and that's it. Now it's okay. And then women started going to work days even before that, like for the
World War
Second
Two.
War,
I mean,
for
yeah,
example.
yeah, yeah. World War Two. All these women kept the economy sort of like afloat.
Yeah, that there was a need because all the men were either fighting or doing whatever job that was necessary, so there
Or
was a
that,
need
yeah.
for it. So, with this, what I want to say is we've done it before. Then we decided that that was not how we wanted to do things. We wanted to keep women at home so that they could take care of the house, looking at that as their sole purpose in life, looking at that as their responsibility and not a job or something that could be taxing or anything like that. If anything, we just see it as, oh, they're at home all day. What the heck are they doing? Nothing. And then we come to today and see that we are expecting women to do everything one more time. We're expecting them to be the housewife, we're expecting them to go to work, and we're expecting them to work without showing that they. So, okay, here's where I'm going. We're expecting
Mhm.
them to work as if they didn't have to take care of a house and take care of a house as if they didn't have to work.
Okay, I can see that point. But do you think that the reason why they're expected to work is because of, see, are they expected to work or do they want to work? Because I can see based where the economy is, a lot of women are expected to work because I mean supporting a household on one income is extremely hard unless you are a top earner. I mean, you need both incomes in order to make it. Now,
Hmm.
are those who not, they're not necessarily expected to work, but they want to work, right? Because I feel like for a lot of women, it's a choice, and if they want to work, then why why would you stop that? Now, when it comes to taking care of the house, though, then it seems like it should be a balance there. Do you think that there's a balance, or still women are expected to cook, clean, and take care of every little detail inside the house?
I do think there's a general expectation that women are the
Okay.
ones that are supposed to take care of everything, and really it's a matter of a conversation inside of the relationship, and if both parties agrees that that shouldn't be the role. Because I can see how, with my friends, for example, I can
Yeah.
see how one of my friends, she's expected to take care of the house, and she was expected to work as well. And
And what does the
her
guy do?
husband, he is, he has a very good job.
Okay.
Um, he goes to work every day and cooks here and there, but he's not the one who's gonna clean the house. He's not the one who's gonna do the dishes. He's not the one who's gonna clean the clothes, like do the laundry. He's not the one who's gonna make the bed or anything, any of those things, because he expects her to do it. And it's like, okay, then I see other relationships that are also my friends, and it's like they have a very good understanding on relying on each other's strengths. In the sense of, for example, he doesn't know how to cook, he can barely make a sandwich, she will take care of that. But then, which not fault, no fault of his own, there are people in general who doesn't know, and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But they have that agreement that okay, she will take care of that, but then he will help her cleaning, or she will do the laundry because she doesn't want him to touch it because she doesn't want him to damage her clothes, which is fine. But that's an agreement between the two.
Yeah.
He will make the bed, oh, and I don't know, clean the house. I don't know, whatever the heck while she does the laundry. Like, there's a balance there. That to me,
Okay.
it's a lot healthier and it doesn't create any resentment in the relationship.
See, I like. what you point out of there, where you when you show me two different relationships, one more balanced than the other one, and you don't have to name names or anything like that, but do you see from the outside that that relationship that has no balance, do you see making it long term? Do you seem like, because again, some women are more than happy to just do the thing because that's how they were raised. That's how they were raised. In a household where women would do everything in the house and the husband would just show up to eat, and that's it. So
Hmm.
what do you see from your friends' relationships, um, these dynamics?
Um, so let's say couple A and couple B.
Uh huh.
From couple A, they are a long-term relationship. They're married and they're happily married. However, I do know that the fact that he doesn't do certain things, especially that he doesn't have the initiative to do certain things around the house, will cause resentment in her. And that resentment will later cause fights and so on. Couple B, however, they have a better communication in the sense of they set ground rules from the very beginning. And my friend, it's like she is very much like me in the sense of she will say whatever crosses her mind, and if he likes it, great, and if he doesn't, then also great. Like,
Yeah.
but I think it's a matter of one, it's very prone to having fights over very little things because there's a lot of resentment involved and conversations that are not being had. While the other one, it's very up and center and they really go through all of the dynamics that they want to have to have a successful relationship. At the end, I
Yeah.
think it's really a matter of communication and balance. I don't think there's anything wrong with women who want to just be housewives and be at home and like they love doing acts of service and stuff like that. I think that's perfectly fine and that's what you want to do. It's good as long as it's a choice
Well,
and
it
it's
could be a
something to discuss.
it could be a choice, maybe not her choice, but a choice.
That's where it
Not,
gets fucked
yeah,
because
yeah,
it has to be her choice. Like,
yeah, yeah. I know, I get it. And one thing that you mentioned about communication is key because I think, at least from my perspective, is that we're having a massive i- a communication issue in society nowadays. I don't know if it was after COVID or even before COVID that was happening, and the fact that one of the girl on couple A expects the the husband to do something without being asked to. It's like, well, men are very simple. Just ask us what you want us to do, and then we might say yes or we might say no.
but why
But
can't you just do
yeah,
it?
well, exactly. So it's funny because if you don't ask me and you do it and you're all quiet, be all grumpy, it's like, okay, she's not asking me, great. Uh, but uh,
I
but
think
I
many people would agree with me in the sense of if you see that the dishes are dirty, just wash them. I don't have to ask you to do it. Like,
that is my that's how I am, right? But I'm a little bit obsessed with cleaning and organized, and I have like a
valid.
clean place. So it drives me crazy if I see the floor being dirty or the dishes not being done. I would do it right away. I might ask you once. If you don't do it, it's like, screw it. I'm just gonna do it myself. But not every person is like that, and people live in their own whatever mess if they want to. But I can definitely see how a communication issue might create or definitely creates resentment later on, and it's like it's an interesting thing to even talk about because I think that one of the main issues in today's dating, there are two main issues which in my eyes are situationships and ghosting, and both come from communication issues, not having or not wanting to have the hard conversations with the people that you're interacted with, that can be carried along all the way to a relationship, to a marriage, which it could end up being it could end up in a divorce. So what do you see when it comes to communication, and maybe not you and your husband, because it seems like both of you have a very good communication and marriage and relationship. But when it comes to people you interact with, whether it's a group of friends or coworkers, what do you see that's happening nowadays with that?
It's funny that you're asking me this because I literally have a friend right now that has a situation of that nature,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I I kind of like it just plain sucks because everything could have been solved with just being honest from the beginning. But you mentioned situationships, which I think are one of the worst things that ever happened ever, because it's like it's the best way for you not to be clear about what you want and get away with it. That's it. You don't need to explain anything. Doesn't matter. We're here and we're just here for the vibes, and that's it. And it's like
I
no.
know. Yeah, exactly. But then here's the thing, right? Whether it's the guy or the girl who doesn't want to commit, you have the other party who wants to, but I feel that the other party is afraid of losing that person, of losing whatever they're having, that
Mm-hmm.
that person would rather stay in a I mean, I don't want to say toxic, but it's kind of toxic because you want something,
It is
and the other person,
toxic.
yeah, and the other person is taking completely advantage of you,
Yeah.
and then it feels like you are angry at society, at men or women, depending which side of which side are you on. But it's on you. It's on you to
Yeah.
get out of that,
A
and yet it
hundred
feels,
percent.
like people are struggling with that.
In this case in particular, the girl, she is the one who didn't want to commit from the beginning, and he was being strict. Like my friend, he was being extremely patient and really trying with her, and this was a whole like almost 2 years in this scenario, like really
Poor
trying for
guy.
her to
Poor
commit
guy.
to him. She finally committed and like said, yes, let's put a name to this. And then it was like, yeah, I mean, we have a name to this, but our feelings are not clear. And he was like, no, your feelings are not clear. And she was like,
Two
yeah, I
years.
don't know. Yeah.
2 years. God damn.
So that's when you say like, you know what, that's not committed to one side or the other. It can happen either way. In
Ah,
this
no, both
case, it was
both ways
her.
exactly. Yeah,
That
no,
she
both ways.
just she was very like into I don't want to lose my freedom, I don't want to lose my friends, and I'm like, girl, if you're getting into a relationship thinking that you're gonna lose either of those things, you shouldn't be there. Just a
Yeah,
thought.
yeah. You know what? I've been wanting to have more um hope in society, right? Because well,
Yeah.
the only thing, yeah, the only thing you see on Instagram, and I think that these are people trying to get clicks, get views. When they interview women, whether on the streets or on a podcast, you say like, there's no way that most women are like that. There's absolutely no way, and yet you start hearing stories like, man, I mean, I can see how some men I'm just checking out. It's like, you know what, I'm done with this. But I mean, it's rough. It's rough out there, and
I imagine,
I
yeah.
and my question is, how did we get here? How do and there are two key things to me that created this environment, which is almost like to me it's a hookup culture. Because if your friend or if your friend's situationship, she didn't want to commit, she didn't want to lose her freedom, that means that she still wanted to hang out with other people, sleep with other people, who knows what she wanted to do.
It was a
So to
very
me,
weird situation.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, well, I get it that the dating apps, once they came along, a lot of people, I mean, the initial idea behind it, great. It gives you an opportunity to meet somebody that you would never
Right.
meet in a different situation. But then it started being used as a hookup culture, and women felt more empowered. Now, whether I agree or disagree with that doesn't matter, because that's your life and you're free to do whatever you want. But then for many years women were complaining how men could get away with it, and now they feel that they want to do the same again. It's their life, but it's creating this narrative against women that I don't know how fair it is, because I don't know exactly if the majority of them single are looking for the same thing or are having the same practices.
I mean, I've seen both things, and what can I say? With this example with my friend, like him in particular, they put an end to their relationship. They were exclusive to one another. And what really broke them at the end was the fact that she was still like trying to act as if she was single without getting into anything with anyone else. If that makes sense. It's like I have you there for me, and I have like that emotional safety net, but I
Okay.
can still go crazy and just I don't have to tell you anything or just do whatever I want. Well, on the other hand, I see friends of mine who are single and they're looking for like long-term relationships to really commit and find that partner for them, and it's extremely complicated because it either happens that the person that they're talking with, they're not looking for a serious relationship, or it usually is that what breaks the deal. Like they were just in for the ride, not really looking for a long-term situation. But yeah, I mean, I've seen that the apps and all of that it makes it extremely complicated. It makes it really hard just to get a conversation going. It's already complicated, and there's so many ways.
Yeah, I refuse. I refuse to use or download any of them. I mean, see how I mean how long I can hold it until I cave. But hopefully, I won. but but I do have a question when it comes to your friend. Was he allowed to do the same? Go crazy, seeing other people, whether he wanted to do it or not. Was he allowed to do that as well? Or there was jealousy from the girls like, you know what, I can do whatever I want, or you can't.
You know what I used to tell him? Because I had the same question. I was like, okay, great, she can do all of that, but what about you? Like, what's good for her is good for you. What
Exactly.
applies to her, it applies to you. I
Uh,
was like, yeah, I mean, I can do whatever. It's fine. She's not jealous at all. She's okay. She's fine. And I told him, she told you that she's not jealous. She's not going to be jealous about anybody. Wait until the right person comes along. There's always that one person
and
that
then she
you
was
don't like.
jealous.
And then it happened. And I was like, there you go. Like, that was what you were waiting for. There. Now you cannot hang with her because she doesn't like her. But then if you do that, and then if she start hanging with a guy that you don't like, she's gonna tell you, too bad. That's not fair. That's why I come with with the whole thing of what's good for you is what's good for her. What's good for him is good for you. The rules should
Uh,
apply the same. Same with gender roles. Everyone
it,
should
it,
be
it
able to do
rarely
that.
it rarely does. It rarely
Like
does.
it's just fairness. It's not even
Yeah.
like equality. It's literally just fairness. That's
Well,
all.
yeah, life ain't fair. So it's like, well, I
I
get it.
mean, we try.
Yeah, I think that it's all. I think it's all about boundaries, and if that's the case,
Yeah.
now I need, and this time was on him, and in some other situation might be on the girl. But you said something about your girlfriends who are single, who are looking for a relationship, are and they're not having success.
Yeah.
This is something that I've been seeing lately, and so I recently got divorced, and my marriage fell apart like 10 months ago. I just recently started sort of getting back into dating, even though I haven't been dating for over 10 years. And the way that I did it was to sign up for a couple of speed dating events, where I would feel, hey, everyone is on the same page. People
Hmm.
just want to get to know other people, and if it goes terribly wrong, you only have to talk to the person for 5 6 minutes, and then you're out of there. But
Literally.
one thing I asked, and this group was from mid 20s to late 30s, and I asked all 12 women I talked to at some point, how is the dating world looking like? One, and what do you think about dating apps? Both side, guys and girls, they both, I mean, both groups just hated the dating apps. They just were sick and tired of the whole thing, and yet they felt it was the only way from getting somewhere. Now, when I was doing some research to write an article on my website about a successful women having like a much smaller pool of dating pool, and one thing I came across was a study that showed that most women, because of the paradox of choice, because they have a lot of like a larger pool of people to choose from, they want to maximize their options, and they try to hit, okay, 80% of women roughly try to hit that, or try to look for the top 10% of men, whether it's just by looks or by success. So if you have 8 or even 9 women after the same guy, there's not incentive for that guy to even get into a serious relationship. So then you get to a
That's
point where
sad.
then you have women who want to get into a relationship, but they're just choosing the wrong guy because they have access to all of this. And I was just looking at the Tinder numbers that they released last year, that men swipe right 60% of the time and women only 4.5%. So then you realize, I mean, women are more picky. I get it, but then I think then you have 8 or 9 guys not getting like a fair shot, whether they're not tall enough, they're not making good money, or whatever the case may be. And then
Hmm.
you have the guys who are getting the most women, and yet for them it's just like, okay, I I don't want to settle down. Why would I when I can have all of this and keep having fun? Then what can we do there? Just uh, it's tough.
Oh, that's really rough. I mean, it is true that when it comes, like, I'll start by saying everyone knows what they like, right? Like everyone has a type, and if you say you don't have a type,
Sure.
that's a lie. Like, eventually you'll discover you do have a type. Like, I used to be the type of person who would say that I don't have a type, it doesn't matter, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can see it. It's okay. Yes. And
But then a type in a physical way, or a type when it comes to personality.
in a physical way.
Huh. Okay.
That's the thing with the dating apps. That's the
Yes.
information that you're playing with, like
Yeah.
for both men and women. Like women in particular, I from my friends because I've never used them, but
Yeah.
from my friends, I know that basically you are literally just playing with the information that you're given. So you're either just seeing pictures, you know how tall they are, their age, and like a brief description, and that's as far as it goes. That's it. So dating apps are 100% about looks. They're not about the personality. Like it's about starting
Physical.
with if you like how they look, then that's great. You can start thinking about the other stuff. The other stuff is secondary.
Yeah.
We don't care about like if you're smart, if you have the same. We don't care. So that itself makes it complicated. But isn't it similar when you date in the real world? Like you're not gonna approach somebody if you don't physically like them.
True, but then I think men have lower standards when it comes to looks, in a way that men can go for. I mean, definitely men will be attracted to a 10, for instance, but they also be attracted to a 6 who has a nice personality, right? You have to have you have to feel attracted to some degree to that person, and that is an interesting point that you're making there, because it takes me to a a podcast I watched a few months ago. There was this psychologist uh, being interviewed, and she was saying that they did a study. I don't know if it was with 200 people or 2,000 people, men and women. They asked them
Mhm.
what would be the qualities that the other person needs to have in order for you, after the first date, for you to give them a chance for a second date. When it came to men, they had a top three answer. One, that the girl is just kind, nice to other people, to the servers, and all of that. Second, that she has a good sense of humor, that doesn't take life too seriously. And the third one is, well, she needs to be somewhat cute. I need to be somewhat attracted to her. Totally fair.
Okay.
But when it came to women, they had so many different reasons. Well, he has to have long hair or short hair, or he was wearing khakis, or he was eating this way. So what they call the icks, right? What they call the icks, and to me, it's like, well,
Hmm.
you need, if you really want to go somewhere, then you just need to overcome that thought in your head, like, well, this person is not perfect. This person have this ick, and to me, it's like, I think that is one of the reasons why there's a problem in dating nowadays, because you have a lot of women being approached by a lot of men, whether on dating apps on or in real life, and then for them it's like, okay, now I can just uh, have a checklist and then discarded all these men that might be good for me, but then they're not the ideal person. So it was very, very interesting to me to see that and to hear that. And I was like, well, I mean, don't complain about what's happening if you're just disqualifying a lot of people just because they're not whatever 10 out of 10, or who knows what the case would
And do
be.
you think that that's something that's new, or is it something that's always been that way? It's just that now it's being talked about.
I think that it probably came with the dating apps, with the pattern of choices, having too many choices. Because if you can maximize, right? If it's in your power, you have access to thousands of men. You have access to
Hmm.
thousands of men, right? And and even if you are a 6 or 8 or whatever the case may be, you're gonna get approached by 60% of men. 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 or whatever will message you, will try to match with you, will approach you, right? So for you, it's like, okay, now since I have like a larger pool, I can be pickier about it. Yeah, and then probably before you didn't have that luxury because you
Hmm.
only had access to a smaller pool of people, or guys in this case. Now when it's larger, you can do whatever. I mean, it, the ball is on your court, and you have, and it's empowering, I guess. I get it. I mean, I don't blame them. I don't see, because if guys had that chance, they would do the same thing. You want to get the best out of the best out there, clearly. But when that thing is not working out for you, then you either need to change strategies or be single.
Yeah. I mean, I I agree that the dating apps are at fault for having a lot more, like you said, there's a lot more choice, a lot
Hmm.
more to pick from, basically. But at the same time, I would say that the old-fashioned way to just like, I don't know, to me the old-fashioned way is very, very old-fashioned, very old. But like
Yeah, well,
in the sense of that you would go to like a club or a bar or something like that with your friends and you will meet somebody there and whatnot. And like if somebody will come to you, you that's the moment where you make the choice of continuing the conversation or being very clear and being like, no. And that kind of thing. Like the pool was smaller, but I think that the conditions were similar. Like
so
I could say, yes, when I used to go out with my girlfriends and all of us were single, it would be like if men would approach us, we would be very clear, first of all, if we didn't like them. But if we did, if it was like a group of guys or whatever, we would just sit there and talk to them and then continue. But I feel that it's similar. Yes, it's not the same, but I feel that it's somewhat similar. It's just that it's like an asteroid now. You know,
okay, okay, I
it's
see.
like the same concept, but on crack.
We're screwed. Yeah, I mean, but that that rather is funny because I do have a friend of mine, and I feel for the guy. Feel for the guy. The guy is married. His wife cheated on him. He doesn't want to end that because he doesn't want to go back to square one and start thing all over. So having this, it is extremely I mean, I didn't know how bad it was, this whole thing, when it comes to dating and
Oh,
being,
so
it's awful. And then it was like, gee, you know what? This is creating, even though 50% of marriages end in divorce, but it feels that this might have the, I mean, and this is just me saying some bullshit right here, but this might create the opposite effects. Like, well, now you might have miserable couples not getting divorced or not breaking up because they don't want to deal, because they have better than nothing at home rather than deal with the mess that we have outside.
Well, that sucks. And that brings me to, bro, honestly, from my perspective, and I've always said this even to his face, if things do not work at any point for whatever reason, I 100% rather just be by myself, just be alone. Because I think it's a matter of, and it might come across a little rough, but I think it's a matter of self-love. The fact of being able to understand what's best for you. And even if you don't like it at the moment, even if it makes you feel like shit, even if you know it's gonna be a very rocky road, if you don't like it, but it turns out that it's the best for you and you're not gonna be miserable. I mean, you can be miserable alone. Why really?
Yes.
And likely you're gonna find a way out of it.
Now, this is interesting because this is something that you and I were sort of chatting a few days ago over text message. Women have better support system than men, so it's easier.
Really.
It's easier for you to just, okay, I'm breaking up with this guy. I'm gonna be miserable. I'm gonna be lonely. I'm gonna be by myself. But I have my girlfriends that have my back, right? I can be vulnerable. I can cry in front of them. I can just be open to them. Men, we don't feel that way. Now, it's fair to say that it's on us. We brought that on us, but I think it's more like a cultural thing that, in fact, I can tell you like a quick story that it made me laugh, but then I understood why more men do this. So a few months ago, I was having drinks with a friend of mine, and he had found out that my ex-wife was pregnant at the point. He asked me a couple of questions, so I told him the story. Later that day, we were having drinks, and he asked me how I was doing. In my head,
Mm-hmm.
he was asking me, "Hey, are you okay?" I mean, I know it was a tough blow, so I started explaining to him how I was feeling in a very factual way. I wasn't being emotional. I wasn't crying about doing anything like that. And he stopped me after 30 seconds. Says, "Hey, hold on. I would just ask you. I was asking you how you felt physically because you were sick a couple of days ago." So for him, was uncomfortable to hear that he didn't know what to say or expect, and he right away just changed the topic. He actually wanted to ask me how I was doing when it came to my health, not how I was doing with the mental health. So I didn't take it personally, but in my head I was kind of laughing. Yeah, in my head I was laughing like, yeah, I get it, dude. I mean, I get it, and it happens.
It happens, and I think it's really sad. I do think that it's a matter of, I think it's cultural. I think it's one of those high expectations from society because, like, yes, I'm all for women's rights, right? We know
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
but also for we don't understand the pressure that men go through, and we don't understand that they also have their struggles and they also have mental health issues, and it's hard, and for them to be viewed as weak, it's a problem, or for them to be exposed, it's a problem. And I see it with my friends. I have more male friends than girlfriends.
which is
And
which is a very healthy thing, absolutely, because girls can be toxic. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean, we can. But the thing is that I do see that, and part of like what I've been trying to do with my friends is really teach them that it's okay to expose themselves emotionally and being able to talk about those things and being able to let it all out, basically, which is what we as girlfriends do. Like if a friend of mine is going through a tough patch or a divorce or call it whatever you want, it's we know that we can sit down, talk about it, and cry together if we need to. And we also know that our friend it's gonna have like murderous intent towards the person who hurt us, because that's just how it is.
Now the question is, do you encourage them to have these conversations with whom? With other guy friends or female friends?
Both.
because see, I've been only able to talk about this mostly with a female friend of mine. We've been friends for over 12 years. We went to college together, and that's the only one where I feel sort of comfortable. Now, I'm not, I don't unload everything that I have inside, but then
Hmm.
I can chat with her every now and then, especially during those tough months. But I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that with a guy friend, and I don't think guy friends would feel comfortable either.
Well, my this friend that had the girlfriend that they just broke up, the very
Uh huh.
toxic relationship I was telling you about.
Uh huh.
Um, we were all together, like my husband, him, and I. I knew the whole story. He told me everything about it. I knew everything. I hated her. Like the job was done.
Okay.
Everything was done. But then he started like slowly, very slowly, started talking to my husband about it. Like basically like testing the waters.
Hmm.
And at that moment, I was like, you know what? It would be great for him to have like this male perspective from their relationship. And I already trained my husband really well, so I trust that he can do this with my best friend. It's okay. And I literally walked the other way. I left them alone
You
very
were the safety
purposefully.
blanket. You were the safety blanket, and you just
In a nutshell, yes. But I literally walked the other way. I went as far as I could so that I couldn't even listen to what they were saying. I tried to give them as much privacy as I could. And it turned out fine. Like my friend managed to open up and talk to him and get that support from a male friend that I think he was looking because like he also tells me that all the support that he gets from his friends is like, yeah, you're gonna be fine, let's go drink. And it's like, bro, but that's not what I was going for. You know?
I mean,
So I think that once you find those friends that actually care for you on a deeper level, like those friends that you can dare to call family, but the family you pick, not the family that you were given.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Wanna be very clear about that.
Yeah,
Once you get to that point, that's when you can really feel comfortable enough to open up and do those kind of things. Because you're not gonna be judged. Like with girls, the reason why we easily just talk to each other and open up and whatnot is just because we know that they're not. Like I know that my best friend is not gonna judge me if I come to her and tell her that I fucked up and I did something and I need her help and I need her to listen to me and I start crying like a man. Like I know she's not gonna judge me. She's just gonna care for me. And it's gonna be like, what do you want from me? You want advice? You want me to curse? You want me to shut up? What do you want? Like, be the person that I need, and then she's gonna be the person that I want, and
hmm,
then later she's gonna be the person that I need.
got to be empathetic first, and then try. But I think that even it's not even some men are. Well, no, no, no. Most men will be afraid of being judged. I get it, of being embarrassed. But I think that the other side of the coin is there's a lot of men who don't know how to react or how to behave when
Hmm.
somebody comes clean, when somebody just says, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," and there, because I had a good friend of mine, and I used to talk to, I tried years ago to just say to him a few things, and there was no one more uncomfortable than him. He had no idea what to do. He was like,
Oh,
"Yeah, I don't know." It's like, and I get it, right? I get it. I still love the guy to death, but I wouldn't rely on him because that's a skill. I don't know if you're born with it or you can develop being empathetic and being able to be for that person, even if that person is just collapsing in front of you.
I think empathy it's learned. Honestly, that would be
But
my approach.
and how do you learn? Just exposure therapy? Just like, hey, little by
Trauma.
little. Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
You
I
know that
mean,
saying that says that the grass is always greener?
it rarely
Yeah.
is. It rarely is.
It
Yeah.
applies. Everything sounds great until it hits home. Everything
Yeah.
always sounds amazing. They're great ideas, or yes, those people are crazy. They don't know what they're doing. I would never do something like that until it hits home.
Yeah,
That's when
life
things get fun.
life has a funny way to show you that you were wrong. And then
That's
and if you say things out loud, trust me, it's gonna go back and bite you for sure, for sure. But yeah, that is a main thing, and circling back to the point of you're better off with the other person, and it's okay. You're better off being single than with that person. But what is happening is, and I don't even know if it's related to not having somebody as a partner in a relationship, or more like a deep, meaningful relationships or friendship when it comes to male loneliness. Uh, the fact that for women, it seems like in their head, men are lonely because they don't have girlfriends and they live in their mom's basement and they play video games and they smoke weed and all that. But on the other side, it's like, no, we just don't feel like we can talk to anybody. So
I was gonna say, I
yes.
think that's a very retrograde way of seeing it. I don't think that men are single because of those reasons. I really think that actually
No.
the sweetest type of
Yeah.
guy are like the nerds and like the ones that we think that are just too nerdy and not like the smart guys. Those are the
And
ones who are.
and guess what? And they're not the ones who are going to approach. So women would have to start approaching men because I mean, uh,
I don't see anything wrong with that. like, I never saw anything wrong with that. My relation, well, yeah,
but you,
my relationship particularly. Truth be told, because he's gonna listen to this and he's gonna say that I'm lying, but I'm not. When we first met, when we first actually spoke to each other,
uh-huh.
yes, I talked to him because we hated the same person. But then when when we have blackberries,
Yes.
yeah, my friend decided that it was good for me to add him to my pin so that I can talk to him. So from his point of view, I reached out to him first, which is not exactly true because I did not. But
But hatred
that is
brought you guys together.
it did.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
That being said, like from his point of view, basically, I reached out first and I added him to my list and I started talking to him and whatnot.
so you approach
So
first. I mean, you added him and
yeah,
started chatting. So
I mean, I didn't add him, but whatever. But anyway, the thing is, the point is that being the first one, like be for a woman to be the first one to give the first step to go in
yeah.
to start talking to a guy or whatnot, I don't see any problem with that. I think it's perfectly okay and perfectly normal if she feels comfortable of doing it. I think it's fine. The fact that we are expecting men to always be the first, I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't think that's fine because they can also have their own self-esteem issues or whatever it is that it doesn't make him comfortable and that's okay.
Well, clearly it's not working because look where we are now, right?
True. I
You,
mean, the fact that it's not okay doesn't mean that it's working. Like, let's
that's
be
no,
clear.
it's not working at all. So
Yeah.
and I see how intimidating it could be. I can see how you don't want to be embarrassed or you don't want to be rejected. I get it. Now, well, it's just we just have a bunch of people being single and being miserable and not being able to date. But hey, that's modern dating for you. So, uh, yeah, yeah, I'm making fun of it, and I'm in the same boat. So,
No, it fucking sucks. And
yeah.
I get that it fucking sucks. I see it with my friends. I see it like, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that you have given them advice when it comes to dating, even though your advice could be outdated since you have been out of the
It
market,
is.
what, 11 years roughly?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but still, I mean, it's almost like common sense, but then common sense is not common. And that's why you get
Hmm.
frustrated with people when they just go against what is what it could be working for them. But you just have to love them and say, you know what, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fair to say that on both sides, a lot of the same elements are at play in the sense of a lot of self-esteem issues, a lot of confidence, and a lot of am I doing the correct thing? Like self-doubt is also very much there. Like it's hard, and the older we get, the harder it is. Like
We
making
are
friends as an adult is hard, let alone finding a partner.
Tell me about it. It's just impossible at this point.
Yeah.
Um, well, my good friends are friends from college. That's how hard is to make friends. Um, well,
Exactly.
at least the ones that I keep in touch with. Yeah, I
Mhm.
do hang out with some people here and there, but they're not the kind of friends where I would just um, call or talk when I'm struggling. And
Yeah.
I think that's the main issue. But okay, so just to close this whole conversation, what would be your advice to women that are struggling nowadays, whether is when it comes to situationships or dating and finding somebody who wants to be in a serious relationship, given the fact that you have access to women girlfriends that are both in relationships and single, based on what you have seen from the outside, what would be the advice that you would like to give them?
So, from my point of view, really, it's a matter of self-worth is a really complicated thing. It's a very broad concept, and it's really, really hard to come by and understand.
Mm-hmm.
It can have many colors and many faces. However, it is crucial, and it's something that we need to make friends with, and it's something that we need to make peace with. So being able to understand who is good for you and what's good for you, it's like the first thing that you need to think about before getting into a relationship. Um, I think that yes, being single is hard. Being alone can be really, really tough, especially if you don't deal well with loneliness, because there are a lot of people that they don't enjoy being by
Okay.
themselves. And bro, just one step at a time, one day at a time. Because otherwise, you're gonna get yourself into something that it's gonna later be really hard to get out of, or that you're gonna be extremely unhappy and you're gonna have to hit the reset button a lot later in life, and it's gonna make it a lot harder. So those are my two
Yeah,
cents.
I love the what you said about what is good for you, who's good for you, because you think that somebody might be good for you, but it's not exactly what you need, and then you tend to go for it.
Yeah.
And having that self awareness is hard.
Yeah.
I know many people have that self awareness.
No, no, and that's why I'm saying that, like, being aware of your like self-worth and all that work that you need to do internally before getting into a relationship, it's really important. Like, work on yourself first, then think about including another person. It's like, when you're on a plane and nobody pays attention to the poor ladies because everyone is like falling asleep and I'm the only one who's paying attention because I'm terrified. But when they start giving you instructions, like safety instructions, and telling you that if the mask comes down, you need to put it on yourself first and then you need to assist others, that rule applies to
Yeah,
life. If you're not okay, if you don't assist yourself first, you're not able to assist anybody else. So if you're not okay with
that's
yourself,
fair.
and if you're not okay by doing things for yourself, how are you involving somebody else? Nobody's gonna come and fix you.
So fix yourself first, and then
Yeah,
go and fix other
go to
people.
therapy, fix yourself, and then
Yeah,
include somebody else in your
and
life. Don't make them suffer.
yeah,
Like, be nice. Be nice to yourself,
yeah.
then be nice to
Okay,
others. That's it.
fair. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. And where can people find you? Because I know that you have your own business on the side. You're a travel
I
agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a Disney travel agent. I'm a certified Disney adult. And basically, you can find me either on Instagram and TikTok with MJ Travels WDW.
So I'll add that on the show notes and on the YouTube description when this episode comes out. But yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you as always.
Likewise, thank you